Oh my god!
Now recording.
Dude, it like screamed in my ear. Now recording.
Oh man.
I don't even want to do an intro just because like it just feels like we didn't really do an episode last week.
We did part one. I mean, it was a very like disjointed and just
Dude,
that episode was a disaster.
Disjointed.
It was just rambling.
I guess welcome back to Casual Outlaws then. Today again we're discussing
Outlaws.
See, maybe you should never do intros, Andy.
I should always do the intros.
Because you're a garbage person.
I mean,
you did like 2 of them where you're like speaking other languages.
I did.
At least you tried
More than 2.
Yeah.
But now you're just like you're not even going to like an outro. You're just like bye. Like not even saying bye. You're just
Irish goodbye. Irish goodbye.
Yeah.
Anyway, again,
howdy, boys and girls. Welcome back to Casual Outlaws.
We like to read books and stuff.
Well, not Burger. Burger doesn't read. He just listens.
True Lethy man doesn't read.
You're not a Lethy.
I am at heart. Anyway, so we finished The Way of Kings, Book 1 of the Stormlight Archives by Brandon Sanderson this week. And we're going to talk about that a little bit here.
Are we going to start from the beginning again since everyone's kind of on the same page now?
No, I don't think so. There's already an hour episode for that.
And I'll just say, like, we don't have to go about and talk about the first part because our massive followers are keeping up to date with our podcast.
They're obviously on track.
They're like, ooh,
why wouldn't they be?
Ooh, new video.
They're so loyal.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first thing I guess we can talk about is Chris and Nate, you were able to finish the book.
Yes.
You switched over to actually reading manually, like some kind of pleb. Or woman, so to speak, if we're talking about this book, or ardent maybe.
Who gave you these things? Who taught you how to read these things? I got them from you.
Well, not Burger.
So, you guys talk about your experience switching over. Talk about your opinions of the book so far, or like how you felt about it.
Dude, it was so much better. Just that's all I have to say. It was so much better because of that dude's stupid fucking voice. Sorry, I know you really liked him, but no, I couldn't.
You're great.
I couldn't.
Narrator trash.
Dude, so like, I even think that like the woman narrator was worse. Like, I really didn't like her parts.
Well, yeah, I pretty much stopped like 2 minutes into her first chapter. I was like, no, can't do it.
Yeah. I think that was the most refreshing. I think I just liked, I don't know, having those voices in my head and leading it to my own imagination.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's a part of that. I think maybe it's your first time, at least on the show, having, I think, well, no, I guess not. Never mind, I'll change that opinion. I don't know. I think they're great. I think they fit the characters. I like sort of the seriousness of the tone, like I was saying. I think it corresponds very well with like what the book is trying to do, who these people are. I think the voice.
I'm glad you enjoy the voices.
Yeah,
I think they're able to give.
Other people probably love the voices too. It just wasn't for me.
I think they give every individual character sort of their unique voice within the text. I think it fits the characters. But yeah, everybody can't like the same things.
I'll say a positive about the narrator.
That's apparent with this podcast.
And this is the only positive. I felt like he stretched his voice to do the little fairy thing's voice.
Syl, yeah.
Syl. I think he did her voice well.
Yeah, I like Syl. Syl's great.
I never even heard
it. That's
Syl's
my only
voice.
Positive.
Nothing positive about the audiobook other than it's an audiobook. That's
no,
garbage.
I mean in general, the book was absolutely
The book's
trash.
great.
The book's
Great.
Yeah, no, the
audiobook's
great.
terrible.
Dude, I loved it. I love the whole my favorite part about the book, and I'll never stop saying this, is I love the whole Cthulhu-esque type monsters and beasts and voidbringers and all these crazy kind of Cthulhu demons and stuff that they fight.
And
Voidbringers are just Parshendi. I
Yeah.
don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
mean, when he's describing the when he has that vision towards the end of the battlefield when they're all surrounded and they get left, and he's like noticing like these dog-like things with the skeletal bodies and the arrowhead type heads and their claws. I was just like, oh, that fucking
Like,
sounds
oh, shit.
scary. Like, oh shit. And he's like, are those Voidbringers? But he doesn't get a solid answer. But like, I just like that. I liked
Yeah.
when they were describing all these beasts, and
plus
they felt
also
very
Numuhuku Makiyaki Ayalunamore.
dude. Everyone's you gotta have a gentle giant in a
Wait,
book.
you
like
can't do an
this.
intro to a show, but you can memorize that name? You garbage.
It's spelled exactly how it's pronounced. It's great. Unlike all these other names in the book.
Yeah.
Say
I
it
mean,
again. Say his name again.
Numuhuku Makiyaki Ayalunamore?
Say it as again.
Why do you want me to say it so many times? Numuhuku
Because I want to see
Makiyaki
if you'll fuck
Ayalunamore.
up.
Oh, you mean like 3 times fast? Yeah, I don't think I can do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, one of the things I really liked about being able to reread this book is that it sort of reinforces like how much everything has been planned out and paid attention to. I think that's a big thing that I like in books is I think that your book should always have questions for your readers, but the big questions have to be like what's going to happen to your characters, not how the fuck does any of this make any sense? Like there's so much time spent into the world building in this, talking about like, oh, what is their staple food products, beasts of burden, and so like everything being like weird versions of snails makes sense when you think about like how the high storms work, how it's always like causing large amounts of moisture and humidity to be in the sequence.
Huge
And you
version
sort
of
of see
snails or crab?
well, crabs, snails. I
Crabs,
think both.
Snails are they're not amphibians. They're fuck, I forgot what they were called, but like,
matter.
Bugs.
Doesn't matter.
are they really bugs?
It doesn't matter.
Are they not though?
Yeah, I guess snails isn't necessarily the right word, but they're very like crustacean like.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, this makes sense because they'll have the hardened carapace that makes it easier for them to survive things hitting them in high storms if they have to be in public, but they're also going to be specifically adapted to filtering like water for nutrients, like as things do. There's all these like little bits that like the more you know, you're like, okay, this makes sense. I see how a society has formed, and then it adds in little things with the society, like traditions, religion, all that kind of stuff, and it all just kind of feels planned out. And like having read through the first 3 books so far, and then going back and then like doing all this little stuff. There's so many little things that I don't necessarily want to spoil. Where I'm just like, okay, I see how this was set up for something later, and I just kind of forgot about it. And it's like, oh, but this was being planned up. Because I don't think
You start seeing all the little things that you didn't see before.
Yeah,
Because you're going back.
like
Yeah.
it was there and it made sense at the time, but it was like it could feel a little bit disjointed. But then you see how all of it stacks up on top of each other, going through, and you get this clear picture of it.
Kind of like going through Dresden Files again. By the time you get to book 3, you're like, oh wait, they foreshadowed all this back then.
It's like you're saying, any good writer is going to have that kind of interconnected.
At least an
slow build.
outline.
Yeah.
A detailed
Yeah.
outline of what they want to do.
What's the name of the guy that does Rick and Morty, the showrunner for it?
Dan Harmon.
Hold on.
Dan
wait.
Harmon.
What the hell happened to kicking her out, man?
She just left. She was like getting ready, so I
Okay.
told her to keep it down. But I was like, come on, get out.
On 5 minutes. Yeah, like Dan Harmon did this thing where like he was talking about burying leads, and it's like we just keep throwing things at the board, and then when we get further down the line, it's like, oh, okay, we can see that this lead has brought us here, or we can interact with all these fan theories, and we see all this potential come out in this different way, and we just build upon it. And there's so many of those little leads that, as I progress further and then come back, it's like, okay, I see some of the mechanism here, but I don't feel distracted by it. Because I think it's all in service of actually building the world up itself.
They intend to do like a 10-book. It's like a 10-book series, so and these books are big books.
The thing is, they're all part of this whole Cosmere thing, which is supposed to be like 40-ish books. Apparently, is what he's planning for.
I don't know. For the Stormlight Archives, the way I had explained to me is there's going to be 10 books. The first 5 are going to feature this Dalinar group, and then there's going to be like a time skip into the future for the second 5. But I don't know if that's still the plan or what's going on. But
didn't you also say that between the time skip, there's also going to be like 5 actual years where we have to wait, or something like that?
I didn't say anything like that. No.
Dude, that's
found an article like that. Brandon Sanderson says he's going to spend a few years taking a break from the series after he finishes book 5.
Oh, maybe the guy's a machine, but I don't know how that guy would even be able to take a break. He just keeps writing things all the time.
He'll probably just write a different series.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, instead of just that, just take a break from Stormlight Archives as a whole and probably work on something else. Because he writes one-off novels.
He's got the other Cosmere stuff
and
going,
stuff like that. Yeah. But
so, do we want to do like a recap of the second part and then start talking about it?
Burger.
Sure. I mean, the whole book is kind of about Caledon gaining his freedom. I think that's the main narrative structure for the book. And then there's also
that I was most excited about is seeing that growth throughout the novel.
Yeah. Caledon is betrayed and sold into slavery. We see sort of the circumstances of why he was sold into slavery. And sort of like the tragedy of it, and how he's just constantly trying to be a person who wants to take care of the people that are important to him, but life seems to keep getting in the way of that.
There's a
lot of guilt
associated to it.
Yeah, and
guilt's kind of like a big theme because Dalinar also has a lot of guilt.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that they kind of talk about on the nose, is where they talk about how guilt can be an indulgence. Which is like, I mean, that's like sort of like a profound thing. We see a lot of people live in that in our own society. There's nothing that's totally human. That's something that carries over quite well for these characters, I think.
Yeah, Dalinar became much more interesting in part 4 and 5.
Yeah,
like when he started actioning, right?
I did like not really like his character until the end. You know,
you were so about him catching the claw, but after that you were like,
I just like that whole scene as a whole, but I just got so bored with his character when they were talking about politics and this and that.
Because his character's all like, for the most part, his character's all about pretty much investigation. He's just trying to find out like, what is it I need to figure out here?
Yeah, it's kind of boring up until that moment where he's like, I guess I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
you know, and then I
just
was
like I thought, he's gonna get Ned Stark, and there he goes, he gets betrayed.
But then, yeah, my second favorite part in the book.
They join forces and they form
the
likes which have never been seen.
Basically, Caledon is sold into slavery. He gets put on a bridge crew. Being on a bridge crew is a death sentence, is what we're being shown here. We see our main character, we see Caledon gain essentially magic powers using Stormlight. He's becoming one of these fabled Radiant type characters. We see the first ideal of all Knights Radiant. Life before death, journey before destination, or no, strength before weakness, journey before destination.
Yeah.
He sort of sees this ideal. We learn by the end of the book that these ideals, or like the powers of the Radiant, are tied to Spren that seem to kind of pair up and hang out with their main characters. But basically, Caledon gets the power to suck in. Yeah, Surge Bind. He gets to he can like suck in arrows to a shield. He can kind of control the trajectory of where things fly. Stick things to walls. They'll cover more of his powers in this.
Well,
they'll cover more of his
spren,
powers
right?
in the second book.
That's what Syl
No,
says.
she's an honor spren.
Or
and
honor
she
spren.
binds
Yeah.
Honor spren.
And so that's a big that's a big theme for Caledon and Dalinar. They're both going to have a lot to do with honor. And so we see how like all of Caledon's actions have been like probably the most virtuous in terms of honor, and we can see how this would attract this honor spren to him, who would form this pairing. And he's able to use these powers in order to keep his bridge team alive.
For the most part.
When one of our other characters, Dalinar, decides to do joint plateau assaults with Sadeas. Sadeas betrays Dalinar by tricking Dalinar into using Sadeas' bridge teams. This is where Caledon is. He basically loads Dalinar up on the other side of a plateau, pulls all the bridges, backs out, says peace, lets the enemy army finish the job because he can't get off the plane.
Well, yeah, the reason, and also the enemy army has been adapting to their joint assault by bringing another army themselves, so that he actually gets like pincer maneuvered. So he's entirely surrounded.
Yeah, entirely surrounded on all sides with no means of escape.
And he's stuck on the plateau.
This obviously dishonorable act upsets our very honorable character of Caledon. But Caledon's very conflicted because he hates Light Eyes. Light Eyes are essentially the noble class. Light Eyes are people who have betrayed him. So he has this hatred, but
he has an internal conflict.
He has an internal conflict. He can go and he can save all of his men, or he can go back and save the person who had been betrayed, because he has that option. To not save people is perhaps even more dishonorable.
But also, there was two situations where he both sees Adolin and Dalinar showing some sense of honor. Previously, he saw Adolin save a whore from an officer. I'm just putting more detail in there.
He just. Why you got to let him finish?
Putting in more detail.
Doing a brief story recap. You can go and talking about how you like seeing these other bits of honor shown by Dalinar's family in a minute. Okay.
Yeah, so shut the fuck up, Andy.
Hey, you shut the fuck up.
The story isn't about Adolin protected a prostitute that one time, and he's not Adolin. And he isn't a total doofus. He's just mostly a doofus, was capable of showing some. But anyway, fuck you. Caledon sees the betrayal. He says, like, we could just run off on our own. We'll be able to escape. No one will know we're gone. They'll assume we died in the battle. Syl says, like, go back and save him because you know it won't sit right with you. He realizes she's right. He decides to speak the words. He does the second ideal of his order. I will protect those who can't protect themselves. And then he gets to pop off, and he just
Murking people.
Just starts murking all the Parshendi.
He just pops the fuck off.
Yeah, he goes hard.
Yep, he works with his team to set the bridge. Dalinar and his crew see that this single bridge crew has come back. This is like they've taken heavy losses. They thought they were all going to die. We had a very passionate speech from Dalinar saying, like, I want to live my life my way with honor. Fuck Sadeas. And let's go murder some Parshendi. He gives a speech. Oh, wait, we might be able to live. So they do a very harried maneuver in order to get out with as many people as possible. Meanwhile, Caledon is just murdering his way through. He reaches the Alethi army. He takes command from these light-eyed bitches who are reeling from getting their ship pushed in. He goes and saves Dalinar himself, who's a shard bearer, gets him off the island. And Dalinar's like, what? This dark-eyed person fucking kicked ass. Do you want to work for me? And he's like, oh, well, I can't do that because I'm property of Sadeas. So that'd be great if I...
that guy.
And then it'd be great. Yeah, it'd be great if I wasn't. And Dalinar's like, don't even worry, Holmes. I got you.
I got you.
I got you.
You don't even know, dude.
Man.
I so got you on this. And Caledon's like, yeah, well, I'll fucking see. I'll trust you this one time. And so they get back. Dalinar tells Sadeas off for betraying him. And essentially buys the Bridgeman's freedom with his shard blade. This is something that is worth like multiple cities, and he trades it for the lives of 1,000 slaves. Pretty sick deal for Dalinar, in my opinion, because the one guy is magic, but he doesn't know that. So everybody else around him is like, "You're a fucking moron," but that's going to be for book 2.
He's got a wizard, Harry.
Yeah.
They don't know he's magic.
This motherfucker can just suck in power. Let's go.
Pass that bitch, bro.
Yeah. Caledon's completely amazed that he would trade this thing that wars and like kingdoms have been lost over. He still thinks it's a gimmick. Can't believe it. He's waiting for the other shoe to drop. Meanwhile, Dalinar tells the king, "Hey, you're a punk ass bitch for doing this shit that you were pulling off earlier in the book.
That scene is so good.
Fucking your mom."
Yeah, that scene is so fucking good. I was like, oh my god, I'm so hyped for this guy now.
He's like, no, I own these guards. They're not gonna do shit.
Yeah, I was like, this is so hype.
It's a really powerful scene, and then like his mic drop is, by the way, I'm fucking your mom now, and then he walks out.
God, I love that scene. He's like bitch slaps him around.
Yeah. Dalinar and Caledon have a talk. They agree to work together for the time being. Caledon essentially goes from being a slave to being more powerful than many lighters.
Gets a captainhood out of it.
Yeah, they have a really good agreement for Caledon, at least. Yeah. Or actually for both parties. It benefits both parties to have that way.
I mean, yeah, they're still in an army, potentially going to die. Yeah. But not bad, considering where they were before at the beginning of the book and how miserable it felt at the beginning of the book.
For no armor.
Yeah. And then Shalon's on the other side of the world, realizing that her teacher Yesna can use magic without a wand. And that's kind of the end of the book. By the way,
I was never excited about her parts either.
That's why, like, part 4 was great because there's like no Shalon at all in it.
Exactly.
And then just like 2 chapters in the
finally
part 5.
This is where it was like one chapter was Dalinar, then Caledon, then I don't even know her name. I hated those chapters so much. I was just like,
I don't think they're bad. I think they just tell like story elements that kind of like part of the world building, right?
It's gonna it's something that's gonna like probably pay off
it's gonna
later in books 2 and 3, but like for right now it's just like, oh my god, I hate her.
Kind of like how Dalinar in the beginning. Beginning,
dude. Every time it was Dalinar's parts, I was like, okay, come on. So I want to know what happens to Caledon.
Yeah, Dalinar really kind of pops off at the end of the book as well.
Yeah.
And then, by the way, the king that everybody thought was a simpleton is actually just fucking murdering people, trying to get them to say magic death words.
Yes, I forgot about it. Yeah, I was like, wait, what is going on right now?
Right. He paid, and he's been having an assassin go around killing other nations' kings.
Yeah.
Just oopsie doodles. Watch what happens next. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Zeph, son Villano, Truthless of
Shinovar.
He's just like, please, just, I don't want to do this anymore, but you have my fucking orb.
Yeah, and then we see Seth's son Villano, Truthless of Shinovar, get sent to go kill Dalinar. And then setting up the stakes for the next book. Yeah, basically.
Yeah. It was great. Bro. Like the last half of this book is just high speed,
wild.
Yeah. And I mean, like that everyone's starting to bloom kind of thing as characters.
Yeah. we sort of see this dead magic come back into the world, and it's just kind of slowly creeping in there, getting a little bit more, and it's like,
Oh, at the
and what I
end we
like
have
about
a
it-
herald show up.
yeah, we do have a herald show up. I don't know if they say that though in this
Oh.
book.
No, yeah, they call him a herald.
Dude, you know what I thought was really cool?
Who?
Just like that kind of
The crazy man, the crazy homeless guy that walked
That
in.
last chapter with Wit, when he's talking to the guards at the gate.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, you were saying, Nate?
What kind of like took me for a little bit of a loop, or like a oh shit. Like I can't wait to kind of explore it more, was when the Parshenti shield guy like stands over Dalinar, like after he kind of doesn't really, I don't know, he kind of defeats him,
The
kicks his
shard
ass
bearer?
in. Yeah. And he just stands over and he goes, "Oh, it's you." And then Dalinar realizes it's the voice from his visions. I was like, "Wait, what?"
I don't think it's the voice from his visions.
That's not the voice from his visions.
I thought it was.
He's
No.
not all like Dalinar's getting his shit kicked in.
He's getting his shit rocked.
He's
Yeah.
like not really all
Oh.
there.
Well, that's how I perceived that. I thought it was like
So he's not even sure because like Caledon's using Stormlight like left and right to do shit, and he's not really like registering this because he's just like so out of it. He's gotten hit in the head too many times.
He's getting knocked around a lot. He was getting his ass beat
Yeah.
pretty hard in that scene.
It says that the voice from the visions is the Almighty,
Yeah,
and he's dead.
yeah, but you know that
How big of a mindfuck is
Go ahead.
that when you like receive a message from God and it's like, "Hey, I'm God. By the way, I'm dead. Could you like maybe save the world a little bit?" I don't know.
It's like that's a tall
Please.
order, sir.
Big torch the bear guy.
Yeah,
dude, when Caledon though like started popping off, like when he fucking catches all those arrows in his shield, like I just think of that scene of Leonidas in 300 when he's like about to die and all those arrows are just like blacking out the sun, and I'm just like, bro, if that was Caledon right now, he'd just be like like I
Yeah,
just
but
thought
he
that
had,
was
like-
so cool.
he had,
Yeah, they were
arrows
like
sticking
through his
into
fucking arm and
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
But hey, he fucking stopped him.
Yeah.
And the
Then he
shield
had a
will
little
disintegrate.
flashback, and then he comes back into the present.
Dude,
Yeah.
and then he like leaps across the chasm into a group of them, and then like, dude, right when the book was like, and he like leaps into him and blah blah, and he goes right into the Parshenti with the gems in their beard. I was like, oh shit,
Yeah.
unlimited power! Like it was so fucking crazy. Oh, that whole fucking scene, dude, where he's just and I like how there's like almost like a physical bringing in of the power. Like he's constantly like
Yeah.
sucking the power in from the world
Yeah.
and from these gems and all that stuff. Like I really love that. Like
And they
it's not
start
just,
catching
"Hey, I'm
on."
strong.
Yeah, and they like
They start
Yeah.
catching on. Like, let's get these things out of here.
Yeah, they're just like, fuck me. All this fucking bedazzling in my beard's not paying off right now.
But to go back to what we were saying about the Herald, it does identify him as the Herald of the Almighty.
Oh, does it?
And that-
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
maybe I
Well,
was just fucking lost.
I was getting pretty tired by the end of the last chapter. It was like 2 a.m. I was
Yeah.
like, I was
Yeah.
like,
You were like, you had
Yeah,
like
I stayed
100
up till
pages to
around
go,
2.
like at 11.
yeah, and I was all hyped from like the whole fight scene and everything.
Yeah.
I was like
Yeah,
juiced.
once
I
it
was like,
started
and
slowing
then
down
it's
again.
slowing down. I was like,
It's a very big emotional high. Like you get
Yeah.
a lot of adrenaline
Yeah.
from like just
Yeah.
reading that passage. I was like, fucking no.
Yeah.
Fucking
And then even, like-
somebody stuck in some storyline or I'm done.
yeah. When Dalinar confronts Elhokar, and I was like, this guy is the champ. And I like it. He's like, you know what? I'm not really good at politicking. I was like, yeah, obviously the first half of the book was garbage with you. And he's like, just make me the high prince of war. And I was like, let's go.
My dick gets so hard.
And like just his revelation of like, that's not what those visions were telling me. The visions were telling me that I need to like these people are children and I need to guide them and show them like honor as opposed to like just behaving a certain way. Little authoritarian, but I get it.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
I mean,
Gotta
Yeah,
avoid
I
the
mean-
apocalypse.
We're also in war and they're fighting wars within themselves. It's like after a certain point, like someone's got to butch up and do something about it.
we see that from when he talks to the guy who wrote The Way of Kings. Where he's just like, "Read a book? What the fuck? It's time for the sword, motherfucker!" And then and he's like, "What? You're supposed to write the book?" And he's like, "Oh, I see now."
You did this
That's
before the book.
he was after he created a level playing field, then the book works.
Yeah.
But until you're able to actually establish this, you're gonna take away these children's games, and it's like some real big dick energy going on in that last little bit there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just great. Like, I think that they set up Dalinar as being like, yeah, he's kind of a simpleton who's like trying to be better because he was drunk when his brother died, and just kind of passed out. And he's like trying to be better, but he doesn't quite get all of the fucking point, like sort of circular games that everybody wants to play around him.
Well, I mean,
he's just very sure.
Before that, like, wasn't he? Like, it wasn't just that he was drunk that night when his brother died, but like, he was pretty much known for just being either a drunkard or really fucking good at killing.
I mean, small spoiler, his wife had died or something like that, and he was like, and he turned into like alcohol for dependency.
Which is understandable.
So like,
happens to a lot of people.
Which is understandable. Yeah, happens to a lot of people. Very human trait. What I like about a lot of these characters is that they feel very human. Even though Dalinar is very stiff, it's very identifiable how one could become this stiff.
Also,
and so
fucking Caledon's kind of human moment, like right before he goes all fucking big dick energy.
Super Saiyan.
Yeah, he like has that remembrance of his brother dying.
Tien.
And then he kind of like comes out of it, and he's like, it's almost like a like never again kind of moment, and he just fucking goes all fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like those are the parts of books like this, like I really strive for. Is like those
get to those
like
crescendos.
Those huge moments, like for these characters that throughout the book, like I really enjoyed Caledon. I liked his story, I liked his build up, and I kept going like, where is this going to lead to? Like, okay, what is this leading to? And then at the end where he's just like talking to Teft, and he's like starting to realize like, oh shit, like how long have I been doing this kind of shit with these powers?
It's like I've always been at the front of the bridge, but it's never hit me with any arrows and shit.
Yeah, he's like, how long have I been fucking saving myself and people around me by deflecting these things with these powers? And then like, and then just that huge moment where he's like, all right, you know what? I'm fucking powerful, so let's suck in this world energy and fucking beat some carapace skin motherfuckers to death.
Yeah.
Like his character just is cool the entire fucking book. I loved his character.
Caledon? You think he's cool the whole book?
Caledon.
When he's the wretch?
Yeah, when he's about to kill himself.
Yeah.
Even
like a swan dive off a cliff there.
Yeah, he's still cool.
Cool's cool, bro. Badass.
Killing yourself is cool. Nate, 2020.
That's not what I'm saying.
That's exactly what you're saying.
His whole character is likable the entire series. Like you feel for him the entire series.
Unlike
Dalinar was kind of like a meh.
I think you're able to empathize with him. Yeah. I don't know if he's cool. I think he was
enjoyable. It was enjoyable reading his growth, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, that's fine. I think it's important to talk about it in the correct way.
But when I say that, you say, "Oh, fucking Nate likes people killing themselves."
Well, yeah, because you aren't. Cool. You did use the word "cool." It seems very weird to say that. He's cool the whole time instead of.
Oh yeah, but you know what? When he was standing in about to leap himself off, man, that really whomped.
Well, I think it's fair to say that Caledon is very emotionally vulnerable throughout this whole book. He is very uncomfortable with exposing himself and opening himself up to other people.
Because every single time he's done it, people have died.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was cool, Nate.
But he's a cool character. You want to see his character progress. That's like what's cool about it.
Rock stars and killing yourself, all equally cool. I mean, they go kind of hand in hand.
Fuck you and your fucking little semantics.
It's not semantics. I think
he's cool.
I don't think you can put it as one word like that. Like I think Sadius could be considered cool, even though we kind of hate him because socially he like is sort of like this ideal Alethi man. He's got a lot of bravado. He goes around, but I
He ain't
wouldn't
got no
say
shard blade though.
Yes, he does.
Well,
he does.
Yeah, now.
Well,
Now
now he does.
And
He
he
traded
dresses
it.
so well. He just dresses so well.
He traded it for 1,000 slaves. He got a great deal.
Yeah.
I think it's more. I don't think Caledon is cool. I think he.
I'm not
is,
saying Caledon is cool. I'm just saying.
No,
like,
you literally said Caledon's
You literally
cool.
said
You
he's
literally
cool.
said that. Yeah.
Well, fuck you guys. What I'm trying to relay is
I think he's
enjoyed
our
his character
emotional
the
core
most.
of the story, and I
Yeah.
think that's where it resonates.
Listen.
I don't-
Listen. I'm
Hey,
a
you know what a
fucking
dog
simp,
pile is?
okay?
What
You're
was
not
that?
Caledon's character was cool.
Okay, all right. Glad we got there at the end.
This is the hill to die on.
Yeah.
For both sides.
Listen, I just think that there's more to say than Caledon's pretty cool because he's just like a distraught, emotional wreck. The whole series, like,
It sounds cool.
Loki's spoilers. Amram shows up in the next book, and that's going to be a big point of
What? So
conflict. for
stop,
us.
stop giving
Why
people
are you
spoilers.
How are you gonna
spoiling?
fucking
What is
ruin
going
this
on here?
shit?
What is
Listen,
wrong with you?
This
Why are you
is
garbage?
something
Don't
that
act
you
like
and
Andy
Dave
right now.
do from foreshadowing.
Thanks,
This is
Chris.
nothing big.
Is his character cool too?
Well, you'll have to find that out.
It's very weird. Just read the book.
Hey,
Yeah.
I don't need any more spoilers, Andy. I don't need to know if it's weird or
Yeah.
anything.
I think
Read the book.
I don't ever get cool from Caledon, I guess. I think he is very noble, very interesting, very noble, very honorable. Kind of like how he
Obviously.
has that. Obviously, I think
I guess so. What I was trying to defer is I didn't mean like Caledon
He's cool. Like the
was
fawn's
like
cool.
was yeah. I wasn't trying to use it as like a descriptive word, just like how his character was likable throughout the entire series. Like you wanted to see
You rooted
what
for him.
happened next. You
You were looking forward to his next chapter at
Yeah.
the end of his chapter.
yeah. But like,
Yep.
look at all those words that you're able to express how you feel about him versus just using the word cool. That's all I'm advocating for here.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me change the dials on my fucking brain.
Well, now that we've all been dicks to each other,
In part,
Um,
of course.
let's sum up. This book is fantastic. The series is fantastic. A little rough in the first part. I think it really really picks up.
That's where I
But,
set it up before we started reading. I'm like, the first 3/4 of this book is going to be a bit of a slog.
I didn't really have that issue with it.
Yeah,
in terms of it being a slog, like you just start reading, it's like, okay, I want to know what's gonna keep going, so I keep going. It's not really a slog.
That wasn't for me. It was like the first third of the book was like, oh, okay.
But you said that you didn't actually read the first.
No.
book.
It was
You just
audiobook.
Yeah, that's the
But
thing.
even-
The audiobook definitely.
But even in the audiobook, it picked up later on because I still listen to the audiobook even in this part of the review. Because I would do some at work, I would listen to audiobook, and then on my idle time,
you had to keep switching.
I would read it. So like I would finish a chapter in one and then go back and forth. And even in the audiobook, besides the narrator, the story was more interesting for me.
Yeah, I don't know. So my experience with this book is like I found the whole wretch, like the first time I read it, I found like the whole stuff with Caledon be a wretch. And it's like, this is kind of a giant downer, dude.
Yeah, a lot of self-loathing, and you're like, oh,
a lot of self-loathing, and all my characters are kind of in shitty places, and it kind of makes me feel a little bit like shit. And then it wasn't until like this part 5 where everybody pops off, where I was like, oh, like all the little world building elements are like, this is very interesting. Ooh, this is interesting. And then the sort of ending part was like, oh, I'm happy to be here now. I understand that I had to go all through all of this sort of sad stuff in order to be happy here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just like, hey man, like if I'm going to recommend this book, this first book can be a little slow, and it finishes off strong. Like it finishes off really strong, and it sent me right into the next book. I was super excited for it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like,
I think this book finished off super strong.
Yeah.
Like it really built all these characters up, and you're like, I really want to read the second book. Like, I could totally understand when Andy was like, I'm already on book 2, because once you get to like towards the,
I mean,
I even liked I liked the
the
beginning
herald shows
into
up
the
and he's
end
like,
of-
a desolation's coming. It's like, what the fuck? I need to get to the next part.
yeah.
We knew a desolation was coming. That was kind of like
The
Yeah.
Everstorm
they've been
comes.
having.
Yeah, but when a
Yeah.
herald shows up, these things that people thought are just long gone.
Yeah,
Chris, I
but
cut
like,
you off. I'm sorry.
what's his name? Caledon's a radiant-ish person, so you're like, all right, things are happening,
Yeah.
right? And the
Yeah.
Dalinar's having visions too, and they prove that they're visions and not like him becoming a madman.
We got 2 soul casters who can soul cast without actually having to use a soul caster.
Yeah,
I
and they
do-
just happen to meet. Like, what are the odds of these 2 people in the whole world that can do
Fate.
this very unique thing? Yeah, so like, just that buildup is like definitely chugging along.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I do kind of want to take a minute to defend like the Shalon and Yesna parts.
She
Like-
definitely redeems herself in book 2.
Or the second part, yeah. Well, I mean, even at the end of the book, like, I liked her more because she just became like that assertive person that you kind of always seen that's under there.
Yeah,
Like-
she gains this big bout of confidence.
Yeah.
Opening up.
She's opening up. She's like not the afraid little girl. And I think like the parts that you don't really like about Shalon are just kind of like, well, because I wouldn't like talking to a pampered little girl either.
To draw.
Like in my yeah,
I get it. You like art. I don't need more pages about art.
But I
get
think
it.
I don't even think necessarily like just her character parts are important for setting up her later character parts. I think that they're important for sort of establishing a dynamic between, okay, we see what one sort of civilization's like that's very war heavy, sort of centric, and now we get this other part of the world, and we see how these things line up and act in accordance. So I think it's like very vital world building that they exist.
I definitely agree with that. I think that's their purpose, at least in this book, for most of it.
Yeah, as well as to cover this other side of
Mhm.
the like Spren bond thing and the being able to soul cast without a thing.
Yeah, so I think for world building, I think her characters, the whole story arc with her and Jasna and all that's like crucial, very important.
Yeah,
To have that understanding because women are the educated, I guess, in a way, compared to
Yeah,
the men.
The
So like
historians, the researchers.
that side of the culture is important to explore.
yeah, because it isn't all just about kings and generals. There's civil servants,
Yeah, and you learn
medical
more about
facilities,
Argentia,
libraries.
and
Yeah,
there's so much world building done through those lenses.
teaches you a lot about religion. That
Mhm.
having Dalinar explain Ardentia parts like in the middle of his part wouldn't really make any sense.
Yeah.
I think we get to offload kind of some of these world building tasks to them. But I do think we see like real strong character development. I think Yasna is probably one of my favorite characters in the whole series.
I mean, as a personality, I love her.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a personality, I liked this bitch is fantastic.
This bitch is fantastic.
She is. I'm like,
She fucking just murks those dudes in the street.
yeah, she just like
Dude.
like a female like role. Like, that's one of my favorite types of female roles.
You
guys
do
are
like
smoked.
cunts.
Yeah, like just this alpha cunt. Like, yeah, I fuck with that. Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
And then like as characters, her and like Shaylin, like they bond. Now they have like these skills and stuff, and they're like at the end of the book, it's great. I think it's a great way to end the book because now they have like they see things together in the same lines, and they have secrets they can only share with each other and no one else really at this
Yeah.
moment, and like a special bonding moment that
Yasna's like she just realized like, wait, all these things that I've been keeping to myself, like I can now share this.
I can now share it. Yeah, I don't have to hide it.
I can get fresh
and
pairs of eyes on things.
Well, I think for her character as just a character herself, like being in that like isolation is probably terrible for years and years and years, and like having this outlet as a character you're going to see in the next book as a lot of growth in that regard.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You know what I do want to talk about? Which was it's a cool aspect, but I want to understand it more is like the Spren. Cause like towards the end, it almost got weird because like he was like, oh, and once they were about to like actually retreat, when caledon comes and helps them, and they get across a bridge, like a lot of Dalinar soldiers laying on the ground, and it mentions like anticipation spren or something like that, and I was just like,
They're anxious.
anticipation, yeah, but like,
Yeah.
so the fact that even like the small little emotions like that have like actual spren was
Yeah,
kind of,
there's
it was odd to me. I can
they
understand like,
mention in the earlier
There's
parts of the
honor
book they mention
yeah, it's
well they
just
mention
it's still
fear,
a weird concept.
anticipation. They mention fear, anticipation,
Death,
death,
Anger.
rot, anger. There's like a bunch of different emotional ones, and so it's like one of those things where like, what is it like to like be a kid, and like you can't tell a lie because like lie spren like will appear and like give away your lie. It's sort of like a very weird society thing that like it looks weirder to us because it doesn't exist for us, but it's something that these people are definitely
grown up
aware of
with
because
it,
they see it around. It feels like a very natural thing that happens in the world. But yeah, there's like, I think one of the things that they try to express in the book is that spren usually appear when change is happening. So like when people have like very strong emotions, like they're experiencing something, like they get that anticipation, then you'll see the spren come. If they win a battle, they'll see glory spren pop up above their heads for a little bit because they're the like emotional change from like I'm gonna die to fuck yeah I'm not dead. Like it's that change in energy states that I think cause spren to appear. Because one of the things that they try and say with soul casting is that you're trying to use the stormlight to convince an object to become a different object. And so by changing one of those glass beads with the stormlight, and to change it to something else, like it's like this energy thing, and that's where the spren come in. Is they're like agents of change.
It's weird. It's
Sure, we're gonna
different.
explore it more.
Yeah,
there's
Burger kind
in
of got a little
book
bit into book
2.
2 there.
no. I'm
With
talking
the-
about when
the-
she changed the crystal thing, and she convinces to go to Shadesmar by using Stormlight. It's there, but they
Good
sort of
book.
reinforce, hammered in, talk
Really
about it more in
cool
book 2.
book.
Yeah, is
Cool.
it really cool?
Cool, broke, bro. Very cool.
Yeah.
Book is so cool.
Is this
cool.
Is this book fuck
Oh
Nate?
my god. Speaking of Fonzarelli, it's totally off topic. I had a sandwich shop yesterday, ordered a sandwich. He says, "What's the name for the order?" I said, "Fonzarelli." And I'm like, no, I'm just kidding. He goes, "No, I'm gonna fucking try to spell it." I was like, all right, man. Calls my name, gives me my receipt, and he was like this, and it says Fonz space Sorelli. And I was like, bro, I just have my new alter ego. Fonz Sorelli.
Okay.
Okay, guys.
So
Well,
the book
Alright.
was great.
We're
Book is
gonna
great.
we're gonna
We'll
do
have
book
great news.
2 next.
Yeah,
We have
Yeah,
time for
I
book
think that's
2?
what we
Yeah.
all agreed on.
What was the title of book 2?
Ways of Radiance or Words of
Words
Radiance.
of Radiance.
Yeah.
Words of Radiance.
And the third book is The Last
How many
Argument of
pages?
Kings.
How big is the second book?
About the same
It's
size.
a little bit longer. It's a little bit longer, but it's about the same size.
More than 1,000 pages. We'll just go with that.
All right.
Committed to 2 weeks, or are we breaking it into 2 parts?
I'm okay with
Let's-
doing the whole book. I'm already more than halfway through with it.
Oh no. We'll try. We'll see what happens.
All right, get as far as you can.
Well, that doesn't sound cool.
Okay, here's the
Nate-
question. If you aren't able to finish it, Chris, do you mind if we reveal spoilers, or are you going to be like, let's split it?
No, we'll just go to where they got to, and we'll figure it out then. It'll be fine. Chris is going to be so engrossed in the second book, with all the stuff that's going to happen with our characters, even our new characters.
You're really
That'll be
selling it
fine.
right now. He's gonna be so engrossed.
Listen, you
Just
got
like the
so mad
narrator,
that I
just like
mentioned.
that
You got,
narrator.
You sound just like the
You got-
narrator. Yeah.
you got mad that I mentioned that Amaram is going to show up, even
I
though
know.
they said that he was going to show up in the book because they said Amaram is on the way
I know.
to the Shattered
Just
Plains.
give me shit. I like to point out Andy type behavior.
Yeah, that's fine. But this isn't actually a spoiler. Like it's a non-spoiler spoiler, but whatever.
I mean, obviously Amaram's gonna show up because Kaladin
Because
is
the guy's
being
still
elevated,
alive.
right? Right. So
And
like,
they said that Amaram is coming to the Shattered
Yeah.
Plains in the
They
book.
did say it.
so like it just makes sense for like a character development arc. Like he's got to face Amaran eventually,
Yeah,
right? Like
it's gonna happen.
part of the hero's journey in a sense.
We all know that shard bears come to the Shattered Plains.
They belong.
Cool. Let's call it there. Thank you.
All right,
for
bye.
listening.
Click. Fucking
Yeah,
hate
that's
Goodbye,
exactly how it
everybody.
works.
it.
Annyeong.
Bye. Have a wonderful time.